Welcome back, scientists. If we look at what we've created, you can see with our gravel and water, we still have gravel and water. Nothing dissolved, nothing changed. Our solid is still a solid. Our liquid is a liquid. If we look at our cup that has our salt and water, the salt has dissolved in the water, most of it. So we now have a salt water solution. In the case of our tissue and water, we still have our solid, our tissue, and we still have our liquid, our water. Our goal now is to see if we can separate these. Now what I'm going to do is separate them based on the size of the solid that I have and what my mixture or my solution looks like. I'm going to begin with the gravel and the water. Because the gravel is separate and a little larger, I can use a screening material. It has larger holes, which will let the liquid come through, but keep the solid in my cup. So I'm going to do that with this screening material. I've lost my rubber band, so I'm going to hold it on here. And I can pour the water through the screening material, and it will keep the gravel in the cup. So I have been able to use what I know about the solid and the size of it to separate the solid and the water. Can you think about somewhere in life where we could do that? Where that might be a handy skill or knowledge to have. Now, if I took my water and my salt and I used the same screening process, I would have a problem because my salt has dissolved into the water. I can try a different way to separate those. I know that the liquid can evaporate, and if it evaporates, I will be left with the salt. So I can try that. So I'm going to pour some water into another cup, just a little bit, and I'm going to let that sit for a few days and see if it evaporates. Finally, I have my water and tissue. I think if I use the screening material, I might be able to capture the tissue and let the water go through the holes. Let me try that. It seems to be working, although I have some smaller pieces of tissue that look like they might escape. Let me introduce you to another kind of material that might be more helpful. I have a funnel and I have filter paper. You may have seen your parents use this in the mornings when they make their coffee. It collects very small particles in here, but lets the liquid filter through. So let's try that so I can catch these small particles of tissue. I have to go very slowly so it is caught in the filter. If I put the bottom in the water, you can see that it creates a bit of a suction and the water doesn't come through, so I need to hold it above. And it is slowly soaking through. I don't know if you can see in there, but it is definitely catching my tissue. And I can lift it out and sit it here. And you can see that I was able to separate and get my water separate from my tissue material. Even though it's broken up, and disintegrated quite a little bit. Some of the pieces are quite small. So I've learned I have some different systems that I can use to separate solids and liquids. I was able to use a large mass filter system. I'm able to let the liquid evaporate, which will leave me with the salts. And finally, I can use a very small paper filter system to pull out smaller particles. I hope you've enjoyed learning about this. Think about where in our daily lives we can use these systems of separating solids and liquids.